guys, so today we are going to be talking with B.R. Myers of Rogue Princess. I'm so excited, and I am currently sitting on the floor. Let's see if I can get this light out of my face a little bit. That's just a little too bright there. Okay. Whoop knows what she's doing, so whoop whoop. Of course, as always, you guys can ask questions in the comments below. Hello!
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good. Let me turn up my volume here. Okay. I love your hair.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, I can barely hear you. What is going on with this thing? For some reason, this thing has not been very nice to me with sound.
I can hear you great.
Is there any chance you can get a little bit closer or turn your volume up, or?
Let me try that. Okay. Did that help?
That's so weird. It's so low. Okay, it sounds perfect on everybody else, and I don't know. It's like it was working fine, and then just all of a sudden now I like have to turn the microphone on every time I do a video, and I never had to do that in the past. It's just being weird. It's being so weird. It's like I'm gonna change it over and start using my iPad or something. I wish they would just let you use like the computer, because that would just be way less hassle.
Are you using your phone right now?
Let's see. What if I can plug in my headphones maybe? I can barely hear you. Here, I'm gonna stop my recording really quick and let's see, say something now.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Well, now I can hear you. What is... Hi, Amber. Okay, well, if that doesn't work, I will just re-record it the hard way. This thing has gotten so weird over the last couple weeks. Well, thank you so much for coming on. This is such an amazing story. Oh my goodness. You guys, this is out now, Rogue Princess. It was so good. I actually ordered a finished copy yesterday. I cannot wait for it to come. Loved it. So good.
You should, I was going to say, just message me your address and I can give you some swag.
Woohoo! I work in a bookstore too, so I actually all my stuff is in totes now. I actually just went through all my swag and brought in like an entire tote full of bookmarks, stickers, buttons, pins, and sample booklets that I didn't even realize I even still had. So they're always looking for that stuff.
Yeah, it's fun to get in the mail for sure.
Right? Oh yeah. Always fun. Well, guys, of course, as always, if you have any questions, you can add them to the comments below. We're going to get right into this, even though we're a couple minutes early here. Tell us, of course, a little bit about you and your journey to becoming a published author.
Okay, well, I'm actually a registered nurse. I've been nursing for almost 30 years. And about 10 years ago, I just decided to start writing. It's a funny little story. My sister's also a nurse, and we were on vacation, with summer vacation, and her daughters were, like 15, 16, around that age. And the 4th Twilight book was about to come out. And so I said, well, give me the first one to read, just so I can have something to read. And so, we were sort of talking about that, and that was going on at the time. And we were saying, oh my gosh, she must be so rich. And when nurses get together, they like to talk about things that can make them rich other than nursing. So probably like every other profession. Right. So it's so funny because my sister looked at me, she said, you know what, you should write a book. And I'm like, yeah, I'll get right on that. And, we'll get rich quickly and we can retire and all that stuff. I didn't really take her seriously, but I think I credit her because I think I just started like the nugget, the idea sort of planted in my mind. And about a year later, I actually did start writing a story I kind of been thinking about. And that story actually ended up being Night Shift, which is a series that I ended up publishing. So that's how I started writing. And of course, that book led to another. And
so
here we are.
How many books do you have out currently?
Rogue Princess is my 11th novel.
Oh, wow. Are they all for young adult or?
Yes, most of them are young adult. Two of them are actually romance titles under a different pen name.
Okay. I did not know that. I will definitely have to check out the rest of your books then. Okay. So this story, when I started reading it, especially the cover, like it got me thinking of like Aladdin, because of course she's a princess and he's kind of like a thief, and Dune because of the sandworms, which I thought was really cool. And then of course even Rapunzel because of the lady's hair on it. Did any of these stories or other stories really inspire you to come up with the elements of this story?
It's really interesting when you said Aladdin, and I was like, gosh, I never even thought of that. But I mean, I do love Aladdin. I mean, I had little kids, so we saw it, when Disney put it out. And of course, I knew the original story. So I think all of these stories and things in your life do influence you, whether or not you're conscious of it. But the idea for Rogue Princess, I thought I just wanted to do Cinderella.
Okay.
So that's the only one I was thinking of, and the hair was an element. Her braid is an element of the plot. So I guess you could think, a long braid, Rapunzel, I guess, but it's mostly Cinderella was the theme for that one. And I never saw Dune actually.
That's cool. Right. I think a lot of other authors that I've spoken with over the years, they're like, well, when I'm actually drafting a book and stuff, I try not to read other books and stuff that are even close to what I'm writing, because I'm afraid that they're going to unconsciously put stuff into it. And I think that would probably be something that I would end up doing, not realizing that I've done it until later, and that would be very bad. Okay, let's see. The next question is, given the chance, would you want to ride a Queen's Guard glider?
Absolutely. When I was writing it, I pictured them like a skidoo. I'm in Canada, so so a lot of snow. But I was picturing like a skidoo that flies. So yeah, absolutely, I would want to fly on one of those. Yeah, that would be cool.
I'd probably crash. Remember those old games, where you are in like a simulator, and it's like I can take off and I can fly just fine, but when it came to landing, it wasn't working out so well. And I just like slow down and jump off.
Yeah. And the alarms are like, lift up. Yeah.
Right. So why did you choose space as your setting? Like on another planet, we've got two suns.
The idea for Rogue Princess came when I was actually writing one of my romance novels, and there was a small part in that novel where the characters were working on a perfume campaign ad, and they were just thinking, okay, we're going to do the ad like Rapunzel, but it'll be gender swapped, and she's trying to rescue. He won't be a prince; he'll be like a guy in a high-rise building. So, after that was sort of their idea for that campaign, and after those characters found their happily ever after, I think the idea of doing a fairy tale retelling but gender swapped appealed to me, and I thought, well, I need to make it kind of bigger, and I wanted to, put a unique twist on it. So I really wasn't thinking specifically of a sci-fi element, but I was thinking about the story, and I don't want to give anything away, but there's the scene that's called the shoe fits scene, and that came to me fully developed, and I thought, okay, that's it. I have to build the story around that one scene. So.
Okay, so let's talk about covers. I actually have seen something else that it had like her and him riding one of the gliders.
Yes.
How many covers did you go through before you guys settled on this one?
Yeah. Well,
which is so gorgeous, by the way.
The artist is Audrey Estock. I think I pronounced her last name correct. I hope so. And you can find her on Instagram. And she was the artist that did that. And she actually did 3 different covers for Swoon Reads. And Swoon Reads did a bit of a fun campaign where she developed 3 different covers for them. And the readers got to pick which cover they liked.
Oh, that's right.
Yes. So So I was really, I would have been happy with any of the covers, but that one was my favorite. So I was really happy when that one got picked. And I had, for part of my book swag, which I will send you, I did ask Audrey if she wouldn't mind, if she wouldn't mind doing a scene for me from the book, just to have as an original postcard to go along with the pre-order campaign. So, and that was that sketch. I actually saw there's on Swoon Reads, if you go on the website, they have there's a blog post. They talked about Audrey was coming up with the cover concept, and that sketch of them on the glider was part of that blog. And I remember seeing that, and I was like, oh, I would have loved that. Cover as well, but you can't have like 4 or 5 or 6 options. I have to cut it off somewhere. But I really loved that scene with them, so she was able to color it in and send it off for me. So,
oh, that's great. So this, of course, is a standalone. Why did you choose to do a standalone versus a duology or a trilogy or all those other crazy things?
Sure. I guess that's just the way that the story came out. I have 2 other series and a couple of companion novels. So it's not like I was hesitant to go into that way of telling the story. But I think I told it and it came to an end, and it was so satisfying to end it there. Now, never say never. It's a standalone, but I could probably see a lot of people really love Shania and some of the other characters. And so
yes, I was just about to ask that.
I could see myself probably writing a companion novel, like sort of to continue, but it would be her story. So I'm not sure. I'm thinking about that.
It'd be nice to find out, what happens to her sister and everything, because of course, she's supposed to get married next and all that stuff. So.
Yeah. Well, in the original book that I had posted on Swoon Reads, in the original version, I had an epilogue that went several generations into the future. So ended up finding out sort of how everybody ended up. But they decided not to add that because it was like, no, let's end it, where they're alive. And, so.
That's heartbreaking. No, I love epilogues. And I love how, they're, because some of them are like a year later. I like the ones that are, like out there, like 10 years later, 20 years later. Because then it's just like, I know that they're always, pretty much like a page and a half or something. They're not even a full chapter. But it's just, it gives you like an automatic short update on these people's lives that you've come to love. So I always love those. Yeah. I'm like, okay, so you can just like screenshot that and send it to me.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword though sometimes, right? Because you want to know what happens to them, but if you're not happy with how their lives turn out, then you're like, okay, well, never mind. I'm just going to keep my own fantasy going in my head of what happens to them,
There's been a few books that like the book was amazing, but the ending I could have done without. It's like, no, this is how it happens instead.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
So this book is complete. It's out in the world. What is next for you?
Oh, yeah. Good question. Well, I've got 2 books that I'm working on right now. One of them is another fairy tale retelling, but it almost seems like there's a bit more of a mishmash. There's, and again, it's a fantasy, but it's also set in a land that's based on the Western frontier. So, instead of a palace, it's a big ranch. There are some dragons, but, there's gunslingers also, and bandits and witches in caves with one eye. So that was kind of a little crazy right now. I don't know where that'll end up. And the other one that I'm writing that I'm really excited about is it's more of a gothic horror murder mystery. London, turn of the century, and the girl she's a con artist, and she does fake seances, and she gets caught, and she's going to face the gallows. But then this handsome, very rich widower comes in, takes her out of jail, and wants her to come to his estate to do a fake seance because he believes his young bride was murdered. So he's going to try and catch the murderer that way. So she ends up going to this reclusive manor and realizing that, everybody's crazy and maybe ghosts are actually real. So.
Ooh. Now that sounds like right up my alley. Like both of those do. I love the combination of, like the Wild West meets the fantasy world. That's cool.